We are go. Welcome everybody once again to a side note here on YouTube. This time it's episode 2 for side note specifically.
Um,
But we're doing. Oh, oh, what's he done? Speed's done it again. What have you done, Speed? You got gilded in the background.
yeah,
What have
my
you
bad.
done?
No, I forgot. Sorry, my bad. My bad. I can
Way
fix
to
that.
start the show.
I can
There we
fix
go.
that.
Way to start the show. Good old Speed with technical issues. This is fantastic. If it isn't technical issues on side note, it isn't a side note episode, I don't
At
think.
least this time I know what the problem was. All right.
Anyway, so as I say, welcome everybody. Today we're going to discuss platforms. Now we're not going to be highlighting bad points and why you shouldn't be there, all that kind of stuff. We're just going to have a general discussion on platforms. So if you guys are in chat, you want to chime in with your platform and what you're thinking and things like that, or platforms you may have experienced and you're not sure about, or you got questions that you're not quite sure about a platform you may have heard about. Hopefully today we can cover some of those points. Joining us today for that matter in question, Shinzakura and Grey Walker have kindly joined us. I know those guys have got a bit of experience with other platforms, a little bit associated away from gaming and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of light to be shed there. So I'll open this up and I'll throw the first one at Shinzakura because he's brought my attention to a site called Picato. Now, this is something I know Shin's had a lot to do with, and I just want to get some points, Shin, on what it is, what they're about, what they do, and why is it such a left field concept, really?
All right. Actually, I'm going to defer to Gray here as she's got a longer history with Picardo than I do and can tell you all the good, the bad, and the ugly.
All right. Well, that's even better. So, Grey Walker, take it away. What is with Picato? What's their story?
Well, I don't exactly know what their story was. My history with streaming is a little weird because I never really intended to get into streaming in the first place. I was basically just using uh random whatever to show some of my clients that I was actually working on my stuff on the stuff for them. And I think I had some friends that they streamed in one place. I can't even remember where it was. It was like something you stream, such like that. I don't remember. But then, like, one of my friends who's also an artist was doing stuff on Picardo just for shits and giggles. She was just for just really our small group just to show us what she was doing. I'm like, hey, okay, well, that's a great idea. So when I was doing a work for one particular friend of ours, I was basically using Picardo to show him that just to get real time input, really, to ask him, okay, did you want this color or this color? And then it's actually Shin that suggested I go streaming full time with it. I'm like, okay, great. So I may as well give it a go. But Picardo's kind of a little funny because yeah, that's really what they're there for. They started out as a streaming service for artists, and they pretty much haven't really strayed much from that initial vision. They're not like going all over the damn place saying, "Oh, well, we can add this and this and this and this and this." I mean, they did add gaming because I've actually seen something. I saw like one artist switch to Final Fantasy 14 last night. But they actually have like a gaming switch that when you're gaming, you have to turn it on so it doesn't show up on the front page. Of course,
Right.
most people there ignore everything. They don't tag their stuff as NC-17 like they're supposed to. So you'll see stuff you probably don't necessarily want to see on the front page sometimes because they don't bother to tag their stuff because the artists are just like I guess they're like us and they're like when I started and they're just like well I don't really have any viewers anyways, I don't care. um but yeah, they did add gaming, fairly recently. I don't know how long ago that was because I actually had stopped streaming on Picardo when Glimish came out. Again, I couldn't simulcast to it. You can, but it's a little wonky, and that's one of the problems of Picardo is that it is still a little bit wonky and some. It's a smoother experience than some other places I could mention, but it's overall it's not quite as smooth as like say YouTube or Twitch or any of those places, or even Kick for that matter.
Right. So they've kind of stuck with their DNA. They kind of went, we want to do something for artists specifically, and they've kind of stuck to that road, I guess.
Especially with the I will call them the anthro community, because I know some of them get really upset if you call them furry, but especially since there are a number of artists that are into, like, just G and PG stuff, so they don't get into the really raunchy stuff. So you don't want to really lump them in together, but it is still a place that a lot of the anthro artists are streaming from. So for a while, all you were really seeing on the front page was furry.
I mean, it is a thing.
But so they're still probably the largest community there. So yeah, if I tell people if they're really into anthro, then the Picardos, they actually have a lot more visibility in Picardo than anywhere else, I think. But I mean, they have a lot more stuff now. I mean, I've actually seen some stuff now on the front page that has, like, people doing landscape art and things like that, and just regular Japanese animation type of anime manga type of stuff, webtoons, that sort of. But yeah, they're first and foremost the place to go for artists, or at least a lot of artists think that way. They're still kind of like, well, I'm an art streamer, so I'll go to Picardo TV.
Yeah, right.
Even though I think,
what would you say? What would you highlight? What would you say would be their biggest roadblock, if there was one over there at the moment?
I think I can weigh in on that.
Yeah.
Shintab seed, yeah, love it.
Yeah, he's probably gonna say the same thing I am.
The most blatant, obvious one is they're pretty much hands-off control when it comes to anything. And by that I mean they pretty much have a laissez-faire attitude towards moderating the site.
Right.
You're expected to police yourself. That doesn't happen. It's always interesting when you go to the site and the first thing that you see in your face, especially if you've got kids around or something like that, is a big titty wolf waving her naughty bits right in front of, and they're oversized.
Yeah, they seem to have a big breast fixation over there.
It's actually funny because I've gone over there just to grab the link for the YouTube chat so the guys can check it out. And yeah, it's let's say it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, so I wouldn't, unfortunately, I can't really recommend it as a family-friendly site because they just don't police it enough. They don't keep the well, it's not so much they don't keep the NC-17 stuff off. I mean, the NC-17 tag will take it off, but the problem is that that hardly any artists actually use it. They don't label their stuff correctly. They're just really half-assed when it comes to.
That's what you get when you have self-policing, though. You see it on a lot of sites, even like Twitch or like Glimish, like people who are supposed to take care of, their own tags and all that sort of stuff just don't, either because they don't want to or they couldn't be bothered.
The second major issue that I see on Picardo is it also suffers from the same issues that another site we're familiar with it does, in that the leadership are focused on many projects. While Picardo is their main bread and butter, they also have a site called Red Horizon, which sells the same software that you can use to stream on Picardo. And they are also currently working on something called Connects, which is completely out of the ballpark, and it's home climate control. How that has anything to do with streaming, I have no clue.
Okay. It's an interesting sideline to take for a streaming platform, but all right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then the third thing that I've noticed, and this one is, to me at least, is the most bizarre, is for a site that prides itself on being art, really don't cover much of the commercial or graphics design artists. You have separate sections for, I kid you not, let's see, comics, furry, pony art, manga style drawing, hentai, 3 or 4 different types.
Chainmail.
Yeah. And nothing for graphic design, nothing for typographic design or anything like that. The commercial art fields. So, like
Yeah,
for
right.
somebody like me who is does font and graphic design heavily, I'm having to hang out either in the vector or the generic creative fields,
So
which is just baffling considering that.
they obviously have a preference to the art that they're looking for.
Well, given that they
Mm.
have official places where you can link to your accounts on Hentai Dungeon and Furry Forum, yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, Fur Affinity is actually one of the social media links that they have. So yeah, you get a Fur Affinity account and you can actually add that with no hassle. Meanwhile, if I have like say a Pluroma account on the Fediverse activity pub type of Twitter alternative, nope. I have to pretty much enter in the hard URL, and it just shows the generic little globe internet symbol. At least they do have that, so you do have at least that flexibility with adding in social media accounts, but you can't just select it from a drop down menu and just slap up like the way you can Twitter or DeviantArt or ArtStation, which that does make sense, being artists um, streaming, primarily artist streaming, but yeah.
Now, to a lesser degree, and some maybe not consider this a quibble, is that in the past, Picardo's being accused of double dipping because they charge their streamers to not show ads, and they also charge the audience a bonus not to show ads.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Okay.
but they've
Interesting
retooled it
concept, that
fairly
is.
recently, so that way it looks more like if you pay X, you get a lot more stuff, which is a lot more reasonable now.
So it's streaming pay to win.
Essentially.
Sounds like it, yeah.
There's
Sounds like
another
a pay to
issue
win
which
system.
may bother. Oh, I'm sorry. As I say, there's another issue that may bother some people, and that is their mobile support, or their mobile app is really non-existent. They put one out, but it hasn't been updated in like several years, and it's broken. A lot of people who had used it say it doesn't work, or it's just
Broken
really
apps.
really janky.
Well, yeah, no,
So
it sounds familiar.
and there's no support. They don't really have any support for that
In
anymore.
in fact, it's actually been delisted from the official Android store because it's now so
Oh, wow.
obsolete.
Which is kind of weird.
Oh, wow.
The company itself seemed to be focused on mobile apps, but yet they don't take care of their own. They don't update their own for Picardo, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah, right.
That's crazy.
Right. Well, I mean, that's a pretty big insight into Picardo. I mean, so
Yeah.
if there is any budding furry artists or hentai artists out there that want to get involved in it, by all means, the link's in chat. Go and have a look. But
That want a pay to win system, yeah.
I mean, it's I guess,
there's
look,
plenty
I
of
mean,
stuff that isn't hentai, but unfortunately, a lot of the stuff, since they don't tag it, a lot of the hentai makes the front page. So it's like, yeah, it's not really a place that you want to use if you're, if you're at work, so to speak.
yeah, it's not. It doesn't sound very friendly. Memory leak in chat. You have to maintain a certain Android OS level to stay on the store. Well, I wonder if there's another one that's going to hit the obsolete list pretty soon. Then, anyway, moving on. We won't dwell on that one. The another one I want to ask. I don't know if you guys have had any experience with it. DLive seems to be one that's making the noise a little bit around. People are starting to talk again on DLive, but
oh my garden garters.
Well, I haven't streamed on it, but I was kind of interested in it because I do like platforms that let people speak no matter what their affiliation is, because I really do think that everyone has the right to speak. It's just that we also have the right not to listen. So the last time I was there, they actually seem to have cleaned it up a lot. I mean, there's still like the dedicated crypto thing on the front page, and it's like Kick. They have the gambling section and whatnot, but I mean, it's not like it hits you right in the face. It's a little bit like the same way that Theta TV does it, where it's like just one of the categories they show on the front page, but it's one of many, and you don't have to go if you really don't want to, and it doesn't exactly hit you in the face. So they've actually seemed to clean things up a little bit.
and that is definitely different from my experience with it. Last year, as part of research that I did into several platforms that I did as an article that I put on GGS, I actually went and spoke to several people in D Live, and the story I heard above all repeatedly was the uncontrolled isms there: racism, sexism, ableism, whatnot. I will admit I didn't find anything direct on my own, but the number of stories that I've heard about acts of, and it sounds sensationalist, but these are I heard this so much that at some point it becomes harder and harder to deny the sensationalism. Packs of roving uh, viewers who will go find somebody who doesn't fit their ideal profile, whether they're minority, female, or whatnot, and pretty much just throw every slur and stunt in the book just to get them to get off the platform. I spoke to this one guy who, and admittedly, this is third hand information, and I wasn't able to follow up on further, who had a friend who just decided one day she was going to stream on the site just to test it out. Didn't know anything about it. She was black and female. Within an hour of her first stream, she was off in tears.
Yeah, no.
And
Yeah, it
they
sounds
notched,
like some
and
of the
apparently
horror
somebody
stories.
notched it up as a win.
Well, also remember that was you said a year ago. I was talking about D Live like last month. So, like I said, they may have cleaned up, they may have changed things, or people, the trolls got bored and left. I don't know.
Except for the fact that somebody who knew I was working on the article contacted me about 2 weeks ago with another story.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is that there's
Yeah,
probably
the problem with
specified it.
trolls is that they're never
Yeah.
gone. Like they're always there. They're, like it doesn't matter how much you try and police it or what you change. They're always going to be there. They're always going to do what they do because they get a kick out of it.
Well, that just sounds like with the D Live thing that Shim was just saying about it. Just sounds like the post I read the other day about there's a Discord group that are trolls and hackers, and they literally go and stream snipe everyone until they quit the game. And there's like a bounty. So, look, for example, they might pick Ninja, like, oh, he's playing Fortnite, go and stream snipe him until he quits the game, and there's a bounty on that, and they get paid to do that stuff. It's
Yeah.
kind of bad that this is what the focal point is for some of these people.
Yeah, I mean,
It's just terrible.
I've experienced it. Obviously, I'm not going to experience as much as certain other people are going to experience it. But like even when I first started on Twitch, that was a huge thing. I was fresh meat. I didn't know anything. I didn't know how the system worked. I was ripe for the picking, and they went
Yeah.
ham. Like they did not care. They gave it their all, and like there was a time where I pretty much almost gave up because I had such slow internet connection, and whatever I do obviously wasn't going through because I was like hogging all of my bandwidth. So like it was just it hits hard when that shit happens.
Yeah, and I mean, look, anyone who's starting out streaming, especially like we're talking our generation versus a generation that's coming through. I mean, they're going to face all this stuff wherever they look now. It's kind of crazy that we're kind of building this reputation through platforms and groups that are like, hey, let's just go and do this because this is funny. And they don't really understand what the mental side of the actual game is and what they're doing to people, and it's just sad.
But it's like it's not just in the streaming world. Obviously, it's in the gaming world as well.
Oh,
the whole stream sniping thing is just it's childish. I remember playing Red Dead 2 once, and I obviously had people stream sniping me, and they were just sniping me off like from a mile away. And I'm like, the hell is going on? And I couldn't figure it out. They just kept on targeting me. And I mean, probably the worst one I ever had was I gave Among Us a go, and I streamed that. That was a mistake. The people who were in the lobby had very specific names that spelt something extraordinarily racist,
Yes.
and they just sat in the main
Yep.
lobby. Just so, you know, it's
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
It's like this generation and sort of like the generation before. They seem to get a really good kick out of it. Like the more chaos they can ensue, the the funnier it
Yeah.
is. They don't care about people's feelings.
No, exactly right. And don't forget, chat. If you guys got questions about platform, drop them in the chat. We'll throw them to the guests if they've got some relation to it, or we can even try and answer it as well. Or you guys can even answer it in chat. So don't be afraid to pop questions in. Sweet, Picardo, anything like that you want to add? Anything you want to ask? Anything of the guests here about what was going on, or you want to?
I mean, like by the sounds of it, I probably wouldn't recommend Picardo, unless you're willing to pay to win. By the sounds of it. And
to be fair, Picardo is a great way to find artists, especially if you want artists of a particular persuasion. But
there are other places you can go to get that sort of content.
Streaming platform that's on that's level. No, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
but I mean, I can just like go to my Twitter and there's professional graphic artists there every day following me, so I don't need to go to Picardo to look for that.
Like there are plenty of other sites that do similar, adult stuff that do stream it, and they're obviously better suited to that sort of stuff because it's like very open. You can do sort of whatever you like, but yeah, I wouldn't do it.
Well, it sounds like since we're on the topic of artist focused streaming things, we probably should mention the next one in the entry, which is Pixiv. And again, I'll defer to Gray here.
Yeah, this is new to me. Yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, it's a really obscure and it's kind of an afterthought. But Pixiv, as a lot of people may know, well, if they know anything, and if they're familiar with art sites and whatnot, like DeviantArt. I mean, everyone knows about DeviantArt. A lot of people know about ArtStation, and anyone who's pretty much in the anime scene knows about Pixiv because that's a Japanese site, and it's basically it's been called kind of the Japanese DeviantArt, which is sort of true.
Okay, I'm getting a feel for what it is.
It was really only in Japanese, but they did finally kind of realize, oh, we have users and people looking at this outside of Japan. So they have they did add English and I think a couple of other languages like French to it. But they added a sort of a streaming thing, a streaming service, I think, called Sketch. So I think it's like sketch.pixiv.net. And
I'm bringing up the domain for anybody who's interested.
Oh, okay, yeah, I shouldn't have the domain out there. And that one is really not. That's strictly for art. I haven't seen any gaming on it or anything else really. No RL. It's specifically for the artists that are on Pixiv, and they can, put their stuff up on Sketch and so it was really useful to me because I could actually see some of the actual Japanese artists, Japanese comic artists doing their work in real time. So that was really cool. But for one thing, it's not in English. They haven't bothered to translate any of that to English because it's pretty much all Japanese artists working on it. And part of the reason for that is not just because it's, it doesn't have any support for anything other than Japanese. So if you want to use it, you have to read Japanese. But the other problem is that the bandwidth there is quite horrible. It's like they have one server and it's in Japan. So I was getting a lot of stuttering when I was watching other people, streaming on it. It was really, really, really janky.
Sounds familiar.
So, I mean, it's like I said, it's more of a thing for people to watch, but I don't think anyone could really use it as a dedicated streaming service, even artists, because it's just if you don't read Japanese, then you're probably going to be really confused because I couldn't figure it out.
So it would be more of a region specific sort of platform.
Well, the problem is that for a while there, they tried to cater to English artists by putting the front page for Picture Sketch in English, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, after that point, if you look at the site now, they don't bother.
I mean, you can use it like for the regular, if you're posting your own art to it, that's all in English. Um, because I have a site there, so they do have that kind of support, but it's
Yeah, well,
there's not really a
Autumn
support for
said,
anything beyond that.
Autumn Dahlia said in the chat, Pixiv is obscure, but it's sort of like an art station style platform.
Yeah, I guess it's because there are actually a lot of merchants there. They sell um like book covers and things like that. Although a lot of the artists there are still Japanese, so a lot of chances are nine times out of 10 when you're looking at something, it's going to be in Japanese.
Yeah, the best way to describe it is the middle ground between DeviantArt and ArtStation.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good way to describe it.
Right. Okay.
Get that.
It's more professional than DeviantArt. I mean, DeviantArt's professionalism is kind of pasted on Yay. It's an afterthought, and they basically, it's highway robbery. So yeah, if there's any artists out there that want to use DeviantArt to sell their work, I say don't. You can post your work up there, but always link to like your off-site stores, because like for every $10 you make, they pretty much take almost $8 out of that. I'm like, nope. And of course, they don't have a streaming service, so Pixiv at least ahead of them on that as well. Not a very good streaming service, but and like
I feel like art and streaming sort of go hand in hand because people really enjoy watching that sort of stuff.
Well, yeah, as an artist, it's been kind of interesting. I was kind of like, am I not being interesting enough when I wasn't getting a lot of watchers? But then I go over to like Picardo, and I didn't have a lot of engagement on Picardo either. But that's because really I didn't put any effort into it because I wasn't really streaming. I was just, hey, this is something for my clients and friends, but I wasn't really advertising or doing anything like that. And then when I get to Glimish, I actually had a pretty big uptake of viewers there. And then they just kind of dropped off because, well, everyone knows the reasons for that. And I thought I was doing something wrong. It's like, nope, it's entirely the platform I'm on.
Yeah, I mean, you probably would have held the top spot in that category for a while.
I did stream on Twitch a little bit, but I think I wasn't really streaming that long on there to build an audience before I moved to Glimish. So
yeah,
if I'd been streaming on Twitch all this time, I probably would have done a lot better. So.
Yeah,
well, it does seem to be pretty surprisingly popular. I was surprised that people would actually want to watch the whole the process.
Don't worry, I'm very familiar with being surprised about what people will watch.
Captain Sudoku over here.
Fishing.
Devoted to software development streams. Memory leak in the chat. We need a streaming platform devoted to software development streams. Keep all the boring stuff in one place. There's a site you can do that on, Memory leak. It's
yeah.
I mean, it is kind of boring, but yeah, we won't touch on that. Not at the moment, anyway. It's all right. Speed. What do you what platforms have gotten you interested with questions and stuff on?
Well, honestly, I've been so out of the loop for a while. After sort of disconnecting myself from Glimish, I just sort of gave up on looking at newer alternatives. So, I know that there are a couple out there. Someone said to me yesterday, Arena. I have no idea what Arena is like. Apparently, it's a big old fireball.
I've never seen it. But,
not sure,
I know Memory Leak has talked about Arena at some stage, but
yeah. Like I know there's not a lot of new names coming out into the world, which is good. I mean, the world needs more platforms because obviously it creates
your forward answer.
it's a bit odd. Oh, well, okay. Um, but the
Uh,
world needs diversity when it comes to streaming platforms. Like, because everyone is different. Everyone has different needs. Everyone finds different things interesting. So you will have places like Arena that will get those odd people interested, and you will get the people interested in Glimish and Kick and Twitch. Like certain platforms just offer something that people are looking for. So the competition is good. It's just whether or not it's stable enough to survive, I guess, is the main question.
Look, Memory Leaks just put in the chat there, like Arena's got multi-platform built in, so you can push to multiples. I guess that's a cool little feature to have, but also, at what point does that become a detriment to the growth of the platform? Like, as
Yeah.
in like arena.tv, we'll drop the link in chat if you guys want to check that out. But again, it's
So
one of these
that's
weird
things
things. Like, if you've
interesting.
got,
Yeah, sorry, no, you're right.
I was going to say, if you've got restreaming built in, I mean, at what point do you try and push your own side of the site? Like, at what point do you try and
Yeah,
encourage your own growth when, you can just have it as, oh, it's back there somewhere, it's, we're there, but we're not there sort of thing. So,
yeah. Like to me, like restreaming is just one of those things that it doesn't show that people care about your platform, because at that stage they only care about themselves. You need people to care in your platform for your platform to survive. So having a platform that's you know heavily based around restreaming just isn't going to work long term.
yeah, right.
So
Yeah,
That
no,
or
I'm
that or if you're like a service like restreaming.io,
oh, that's
Aircast, stuff like
yeah,
that. Yeah, that's a service. They're built for that kind of stuff.
yes,
But sites that co-opt themselves, like you're saying, like Arena, yeah, it pretty much not only you know pretty much you're co-opting yourself in the first place, but even if you have that little special something that makes you unique, well, you've just thrown it out the window because you're
mm,
sharing it via the restreaming platform.
yeah,
that's right.
yeah. You're basically shooting yourself in the foot at that stage. You're like, oh, hey, come over here. It's a great platform to be, and you can stream everywhere else. Like,
I think the biggest problem that's oversighted with restreaming, and don't get me wrong, restreaming, like I've always said this, I won't restream unless there's a purpose to it, because the only purpose I consider restream is to test, and I mean test a platform, go and see what its features are without actually having to commit to a full move. But then, if you're using it to test, you should then have enough knowledge from the testing to work out whether it is worth the move, and then go and commit to the move. I don't think restreaming is a full time. I've seen people, come follow me on like these 9 links, and it's how is your
yeah,
community supposed to stay up to date with everything you're
and
doing? Like,
and
if
we've
you've got
obviously
anything more than that, it's crazy.
yeah, we've discussed this previously, but it's still a valid point. There are full time restreamers out there. Like I
Mm,
can't fathom a reason as to why people are full time restreamers. Like their only reason that they have is to build a community, so they say. Like you're not really
mm.
building a community because literally half of your community is watching you everywhere. So
That's right.
you've
Yeah,
still
they're
got the same
bouncing
amount of
between 3
people. You
channels.
just got a little bit like sort of sprinkled everywhere else. So you're
Yeah,
not really gaining anything out of it unless it's a monetary thing. Get monetized on every platform, so you're getting money coming in from
yeah.
different avenues. But even then, that's ethically, that's not really an option.
I
And
will
look,
say that I was watching, and I found this interesting. I was watching a restreamer on Blemish. I'm not going to mention the guy's name because he's somewhat of a trouble magnet to begin with. But he was also restreaming to about 5 or 6 different places, and I was baffled on it. It's like, how are you keeping track of what all your audience is saying? And then there's a link that pops up on the bottom. Go to my Discord for the official chat, and it's like, why aren't you just streaming on Discord to begin with? You just tell
Yeah.
everybody go over to the Discord.
yeah, yeah. Look, Autumn pretty much just said it there. You aren't building a community if your people are just watching you everywhere.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, the problem that I see with restreaming, and like, again, memory leak, this is not targeted at you. We've spoken privately, and I understand what you're doing, and I know what your purpose is. But like, we're talking about people with 5 or 6 different links to their streaming. So those guys are the ones who are actually paying, and they're paying quite a number to restream to those channels. It's not free. It's not like they can just open it up and just go and it's just automatically there. They've got to pay for this. So they're paying to stream. So they're trying to build that, massive amount of influx on their channels to get partnered everywhere. So like, Twitch is 50-50, Glimish was 60-40. Oh, well, I can make more there as well. So if I can double up, but it's still the same people that are supporting the channel. They're not creating new people.
Yeah, but it's
and when
the
they
hope
disappear
that
off one,
they will.
that's right. They're just disappearing and making it harder for themselves. On that flip side, though, if you do multi-stream properly, where you do, say, Twitch on a Monday and you do Trovo on a Tuesday, and then you do Twitch on a Wednesday, and then, if you're doing multi-streaming, that kind of facet where you can actually dedicate time and then you can build those different communities, that's probably the only time I would sort of multi-stream as such, would be multi-platforms over the week, wouldn't just be dedicated to one.
Yeah, like how do you how do you stay on top of streaming to, like, I saw a tweet one day where there was literally like 9 different links in the tweet. It's like, I'm streaming here. It's like, how do you keep on top of that? I mean, I struggle enough with one chat. I'm not going to look at 9 of them.
No, that's
yeah.
But
like, my question is, right? Obviously, it has something to do with money. Like, it's the only thing that makes sense. So, say, if one platform just really sort of starts to boom, are you going to be like, right, well, this is working for me, I'm going to move over there? Or are they going to be like, sweet, and just keep doing whatever it is that it's doing? Are they going to be, are they greedy, basically?
Yeah, it pretty much comes down to greed. Like, I heard
it does. It seems like a greed thing.
It is. It's definitely a greed option. But again, like, people want to do it. But I mean, I just don't understand it. I don't believe that it's building anything, and you can't give 9 platforms the same level of commitment that you would to 1 or 2 at absolute most.
Yeah, but like, say, memory, right? You've got your 9 chats combined into one, right? And every chat's just going off, right? You got let's say 20 people chatting in each chat. That chat's just going to scream by. You're not going to be able to read it anyway. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, I can't wrap my head around it as
even
as
if you've
viable.
got slow mode on with that many people, it's just going to be blurring by.
Yeah,
like,
it's just going to scream past
ridiculously fast.
And if you're doing something like concentrating, like an
well,
then yeah, there's no hope for that.
But like, I know that there are a good handful of people who restream who don't pay attention to chat at all. They just don't care about chat. Like, they're just doing their thing. Like, and they're the people who are probably greedy. The people who are trying to stream everywhere, hoping for that, successful boom. The sudden success. It's not going to happen. It's just,
No,
pull your head
you're
out your
making it
butt.
harder for yourself.
Yeah. no, no one ever is going to have
Just be direct, Steve.
instant success. Yeah. Like,
Just be direct.
yeah, no one's ever going to have instant success, right? Like, yeah, you could name people like Ninja, but he just happened to be at the right place at the right time, playing the right thing, and it was like
but
the
it wasn't
miracle
instant
scenario.
success.
Yeah, I know, but
He
it was
built
that
that over
instant. But yeah,
15
it took
years.
ages for him to get to that stage. Yes, but it was that instant boom, and that's what people look at. They see that and see instant success. I need that. I need to have that.
Yeah, but that's where it's not instant success. So this is where that picture you're painting is actually wrong, because it took
Yeah,
you
but
15
that's the people.
years to build that empire.
But that's what people would use as an excuse. You know, they would say,
Yeah,
"Oh, Ninja." Yeah, but
again,
we know, like, obviously, you know, years into the making.
they're painting the wrong picture for themselves if they think he just miraculously blew up overnight and become the forefront that he is. Like, no,
But that's
it took him
I think
a
that's
long,
the biggest.
long time to build that.
I think it's the biggest problem with the streaming world right now is people want the instant success. They want, you know, to be famous now. You know, if I stream for a week on this platform, I expect, like, you know, hundreds of viewers to come flocking in. They're just going to hand money over, and, you know, I'm just going to explode overnight, and I won't have to go back to work ever again. Like, you can't.
But that's just not streamers though. That's also platforms.
Oh yeah,
It's a lot of
you
things.
look at Brime, for example. There's a classic. You know, it was like, oh, we're going to use, you know, code from another open source site. We're going to build this thing, and everyone's just going to flock to us. Will be a huge thing. And look what happened to it. It become an overnight flop.
I
I
mean,
don't know if Shin kept an eye on Prime or not, but you know, I know they were using a lot of Blemish code
it
at one
flopped
stage.
as soon as it got bought out by an external entity. That's when it died.
Yes,
Because
the
they had
sheer fact
big
is-
promise, you know, open transparency, you know, anyone. It was essentially the prime Glimish model, you know, when they first came out, and then they got bought out by an external company and silence.
But no,
And that's
that
when it
still
all fell.
proves that point though, is that instant success. We're going to sell out. We're going to be huge. That's the thing. I mean, what was the other one? Altair. Altair was another one that was on the radar for a long period of time, and then that kind of hit troublesome spots, and it fell down as well. So, you know, there's a lot of these sites that try and think that it's going to happen and they can instantly hit success, but it's not going to just happen overnight. It requires a lot of work.
Yeah,
The problem is people tend to forget the old maxim. It's like no one is an overnight success. You just manage to get discovered at that point.
Yeah, yeah. You just happen to get discovered. Yeah, but it's the same as you said. Goes with platforms. You know, the new platforms that just are hoping for that big successful boom.
If you don't have the team behind it, you don't have the structure behind it, you'll never have that instant gratitude where people will actually be like, "Oh, awesome."
Yeah, but it's the underpants gnome structure. You know, build platform, profit. You know, the second phase is just non-existent. Like you can't have a product and just expect it to win everyone over.
There's another platform I want to ask these guests about if they have any option, because Memory Leaks just brought it into chat. Caffeine was another one that I heard a lot about at one stage. It was really, really vocal, and then it just disappeared. It just seemed like it just vanished. Has caffeine been one that anyone's had anything to do with?
Unfortunately, I think Lix is the one who could probably tell us the most about that.
I have stories. I talk regularly with the guy who was a developer for Caffeine TV, and in fact, his product, Caffeinated, also known by its parent company, Caster Labs, who I'm unofficially affiliated with.
That's who
where
that
the name comes from.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and when I first saw it, well before I met him, I already knew it was for the mediagenic, i.e., the pretty vapid people.
Then they're really going to create MTV Part 2, I guess.
Yeah, and when I finally started talking with Lix, the owner of Caster Labs, who used to, like I said, used to be a dev for caffeine, I found that my statement was actually an understatement. That apparently nobody knows what's going on over there, and the only thing that keeps it afloat is money. And half the people there are actually paid by caffeine and still have no audience.
Ooh.
Memory leak the MTV cribs of streaming.
Oh, that
Essentially,
sounds
yeah.
horrendous.
Yeah, I said it's they're trying to make MTV for
Oh no.
So, just we'll quickly drop this Caster Labs in there because I know Shin just mentioned it, but what is Caster Labs there, Shin? Since you're...
Caster Labs is a streaming software where you can add alerts, chatting, chat docs, music connections if you play music during some of your streams, stuff like that. It's basically an assistant. If you're familiar with Mixit or Glimboy or other similar softwares, that's essentially what it is. It's in that class.
So do they have any restrictions on platforms and where that can and can't be used, or is that just a complete open?
Caster Labs actually is trying to expand everywhere, some of which is unfortunately my fault. They increased Flemish support simply because of me and Gray. At my suggestion back when I thought I was going to, or at my suggestion when I was planning to return to Picardo, I made the suggestion, and now that's in the pipeline. They're working on Kick support, as we speak, although that's still a bit because Kick's also in beta. But yeah, they cover multiple things. Ironically, when I last talked to Lix, and I don't know if he was serious about this or not, but Caffeinated may be actually sunsetting service for caffeine because their code apparently is just horrific.
Wow.
It's apparently code spaghetti on a horrendous level.
It's funny you just say about they're adding Kick support, but I've just looked on their Caster Labs homepage, and they do have Kick Beta as a connection that you can do. So interesting that that's kind of already there as an option.
Yeah, I was actually trying to use it during my test last night, but unfortunately it wasn't connecting entirely. So that's why I'm saying they just added it, but it's still not
okay
gelled yet.
Yeah, right. Oh, there you go. So that links in chat as well for Caster Labs. But so yeah, caffeine probably steer clear of again if unless you guys want to get mixed up in MTV series.
Yeah,
we're definitely not pretty enough to be on. My avatar is pretty awesome looking, but somehow I don't think they'd be into
as a person I know over not Lix, but a person I know at the Caster Labs forum said, if you're really really pretty and you want to keep your dignity from being a joystick chewer or a hot tub girl, go to caffeine.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
It's basically a clean up version of OnlyFans.
Sure it is. Sure.
Okay, so we do have a slight problem here, Speed, is none of the links I'm putting in are actually showing up, dude.
Yes,
I can actually type them in if you want.
No links are showing up in chat.
Yeah, absolutely none. So we'll have to look into that.
I will have to look
chuck
into
those
that.
links into the bottom of the video. Looks like it's another technical issue with SideNote.
I mean, no, I think that's more of a YouTube thing, to be fair. I don't think I have any...
Probably a YouTube setting.
Yeah, I don't think I have any control
over that. Because lady just gave me a tap on the shoulder. It's like, oi, links are not showing up for these links that you're putting in. Yeah, I'm like, I can see them. They're right there. I can see them.
That's right. They'll all be in the description
in the video
afterwards. Don't worry.
Yeah, they could be held for review. Yeah.
I
so
very much doubt it.
Any other platforms that we need to discuss? I mean, obviously, we'll avoid the obvious with Glimisha. We've all been very vocal about that. We'll move away from that. Twitch, we all kind of know about. It's a disaster zone. It's just it is what it is, but it's the devil you know. Uh, Anything else that you've been eyeing on Speed, or even our guests have been keeping their eyes on?
Actually, I've got one. It's called No No Live. Let me put that one in there.
What?
That already sounds like a no.
Despite the name, no, no, that's actually not it. No No Live can be best described as Twitch if you don't speak English.
Right. Okay.
They've got a very heavy Spanish and Arabic
Oh,
community there,
okay.
and you could treat it pretty much the same way as you would Twitch. And I found out about it while doing my research for the GGS article, and I even looked into it, and they're trying to build an English community, but that's kind of saying the same way that Pixiv is trying to build an English community. It's an afterthought. And if you go there, they've at least have the site set so that it'll auto read English as your first site and try to put everything in English. But almost all the videos there are either in Spanish, Arabic, those are the two biggest languages there, German, French, stuff like that. I had to actually do some deep digging to find any English streamers there.
Right.
It's kind of like Trovo's headed down that pathway as well, haven't they? They're kind of headed into that more European, Middle Eastern kind of market away from the English side as well. In a lot of their situations here. No, I'm just looking at No Live there at the moment. And yeah, no, you definitely see there's. It's definitely
it's not a bad site at all. It's just be prepared if you're going to go there to
right.
be
So basically, if you're English speaking, avoid.
Probably not your first option, but again, I'll put the thing in there because I know you'll see it anyway. But yeah, so No Live's another one. Don't open Trovo's homepage on stream. That was I.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I was
won't
about
do that.
I was about to highlight Trovo as the next point because, yes, I went over there the other day. For complete giggles, I just wanted to open the page and see what was going on, and yeah, let's.
Yeah, oh dear sweet lord, I'm looking now myself. It's like I can see what he's talking about.
Well, now you've piqued my interest. I kind of want to go and have a look.
I mean, all you've got to do is
you cannot unsee. That's all I'm going to say.
I thought the big thing was them being just a content farm.
Okay, so again, Trovo had an opportunity to be something very, very good.
Oh wow!
And I've got a lot of of first-hand experience with Trovo because when the Mixer debacle happened, I got told a lot of people were like, "Oh, come check out, this Trovo." It was Mad Cats, back as its placeholder name, and it's doing good things, and they were very, very community orientated. They were very focused on their community. If you hit 50 follows, they post it up in the Discord. Hey, look, this streamer achieved this, and all that kind of stuff. And then we watched it deteriorate over time, and I mean, to look at it now, I mean, it's nothing like what I remember. But I mean, when you've got ads and you've got people on there just that's their front page. I mean,
yeah.
What more do you need to say?
I mean, it basically speaks for itself, doesn't
it? It's pretty much lost its value. It went away from you talk about No Live being very Spanish and Arabic related, and Trovo did the same thing. They were very English orientated at one stage, and then they started to push that like the Middle Eastern Europe market, and they kind of hit a lot of those Spanish and non-English speaking countries, and it wasn't a problem because it was balanced really, really well. But then it just that seemed to be the more focal point of Trovo, where they could kind of get away with doing some of their business stuff there that is probably not the greatest business model. But yeah, so Trovo is definitely one that's be warned if you open it. You can't unsee what you've seen.
There's some stuff
You
there.
think Twitch is bad?
Um,
You think Twitch is bad? You think Kick is bad? You haven't seen Trovo.
yeah,
I'm sorry. Trovo is
there's stuff.
shocking.
There's some stuff there. Um,
Oh
all
yeah.
right. So I guess one we need to talk about is share play, because obviously that's an up and comer, right?
Yeah. Um. Again, was in for their latest test. I mean, I don't know if anyone else has kept up on. I know Deceptus in chat. I know he was there. Again, I'm not blown away by what they're bringing after such a long building phase. Don't get me wrong, it looks good. It's clean. It's got its quirks about it. I I just don't know if they're actually bringing anything groundbreaking that's going to make them that big step in the industry. I don't know if they're going to be the next challenger for Twitch and YouTube and stuff like that. I just, I mean, I get it. I do see what they're doing, and I'm not going to, rain on their parade. They are doing good things, and it is very clean. I just don't know if what they're bringing is enough to shock the market into, whoa, this thing's crazy. Like
Yeah.
you're just going to open it and be like, oh, this is cool. Okay.
Do you think it's been overhyped then, as possibly the next big thing?
I don't think they've overhyped it. I mean, if anything, the community's overhyping it, and I think that's going to be the letdown. I think the community is just pushing too much. Like Deceptor saying there, he's glad they're taking their time instead of rushing on a quality stream platform. They listen to everyone.
Yeah.
So again, like take nothing away. Again, Deceptus. I'm not taking anything away from SharePlace. Please don't read this the wrong way. Yes, taking their time to do it right is fantastic, and they listen to everybody. But that has a very dangerous edge, and I hate to say it, but the longer they listen to everybody, the longer before they launch a platform, and that worries me that they're going to take too long to get their platform out. I think a lot of these features they're trying to push through right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, anyone in chat or anyone in the room right now, but the longer you take to launch by adding all this stuff in gives you no room later on to bring out these explosive features that could really push people down the line of saying, hey, this is really crazy feature. This is really cool. Get in here and check it, because you're just going to launch with it and it's going to be like, oh, great. Okay.
Yeah. It's like having,
so what are they going to give me?
It's like having a roadmap for the platform, right? And then getting, making sure that 75% of that roadmap is in before they even launch to the public. And that seems kind of ridiculous. Like you don't need to do that.
I do agree with what Deceptor's saying. Not rushing it. They're not doing a Glimish where, hey, just pump it out and then we'll add features and we'll keep building and building and building and building and we'll crash it along the way. I'm not saying that's what they need to do. What I'm saying is you can't keep adding these quirky little features like their power plays, for example. That could have been a good little feature to add in 6 months down the road.
Yeah.
You could have built some hype around it. You could have built it as a huge feature and just like, bam, there's this magic feature that just comes in and explodes everywhere. By adding it in day one is going to be, oh, great, this is huge. And then tomorrow it's going to be like, well, there's nothing coming. It's built. The platform's there. Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I think they're kind of doing themselves an injustice.
Yeah. So instead of releasing
they're doing
something,
themselves injustice.
Yeah. Instead of releasing something solid, obviously that has the basics, that has the fundamentals down and in place, releasing that to the public and then building on top of that. I mean, that's what they, because they could have launched already. If that were the case. I reckon if they'd have just focused on getting a clean platform, a stable platform with good servers, getting some basic features, aka subs in, or gifted subs, all that, just the generic basic stuff, and then they come in with the whiz bang flair and potential,
I think they could have launched. To be fair, I think SharePlay could be open to the public. But by listening to everybody, you're going to have the left hand saying do this, you're going to have the right hand saying that doesn't work. It's going to be a big jumble. They can't do anything. So they're just going to keep adding and adding and adding. At what point do they say enough's enough? We need to launch a platform. I know they've said summer this year. Now that is you take with a grain of salt or take it as actual fact. But when you keep listening and listening and listening, keep trying to add and add and add, I just think you lose that DNA. We've spoken about DNA on the show before about platforms losing their DNA. Trovo lost their DNA. We know Glimish has lost their DNA. I just think SharePlay needs to just stop everything and taking the information on board and saying, right, we have what we want to launch. This is what we're focusing on. That's going to go, rather than just keep feeding more and more into it. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, it's all cool. Like the power play thing, that's cool. It's a quirky little idea, and they're doing their own thing, and that everything just looks stable. I mean, it looks. You've got chat up there. You've got the stream there. You've got things there. It's there, but they're testing with like 1 or 2 people, and we all know, and from experience, when you test with 100 to 200, 300, 500,000 people, that's usually when it goes and crashes on its ass, and then you've got to try and rebuild everything. So look, SharePlays is doing its own thing. Kudos to them. I love what they're doing. It looks cool, but are they doing any justice?
Yeah.
I think I would go one more step farther that you didn't add. I would also at this point start having the marketing folks tempering the potential audience to realize that no, it's not going to be an insta Twitch on day one.
No.
As much as we brought this up before, part of Glimish's problem was that on day one, everybody who showed up expected a complete, fully featured Twitch competitor. It was never going to be like that. And nobody should expect a site that's in beta. They shouldn't expect it from Kick. They shouldn't expect it from SharePlay. Shouldn't expect it from any of these newer sites that somebody's going to just churn a key and then it's exactly just with all the same features that Twitch has. That's unrealistic.
I totally agree.
And this is where I think SharePlays has sort of stumbled over their own feet, because obviously they've seen Glimish, right? Glimish launched very basic platform and slowly added in things that should have been essential early on. But then, like, obviously they've looked at that and the slow progress that has had, and, the slow traction it's had, and thought, well, why don't we just add all of this stuff in now? And they probably got a little bit overexcited and started adding extra things on top of the already bare minimum necessary. So, yeah, I don't know.
I'm excited to see what SharePlays does. I am excited to see what they can do, but I'm also worried on the flip side that they're just taking too long to do, what they could already have done. Is my worry. And again, I don't know the size of the team. I don't know how many is working on it. They were talking about WebRTC at one stage, or FTL. They were going to run, and now it's RTMP. They want to launch with that and this, and they're talking a lot in their Discord and stuff like that, which is great because they're keeping the community in the loop. The problem that I have, though, is are they taking too long and adding too many features to what isn't really needed?
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's again, I'm excited to see it. Like, I just want to see them get it out. I just want to see people get their hands on it and get using it and build that same hype that Trovo built when it first launched. And Kick, for example, Kick is blowing up right now. It's huge. It's massive right now. But again, that's streamers doing marketing. We've spoken about this for Glimish as well. They had the opportunity to cash in on that and they didn't.
But it's one thing. It's one thing to watch a streamer use a platform. It's another thing to experience the platform as a streamer. And
exactly right.
If they don't nail that portion of it, could spell bad news.
One thing I think SharePlays has got to start doing is getting in the public now. Like if they're looking for a summer release, they need to get into the market now of hyping this up and getting people there, because otherwise, again, we've seen it all across every platform and it doesn't change. And I don't care what people say, it will never change. The platform will end up in the same position that every new platform is. It'll be streamers supporting streamers, or streamers who won't stream just to support their mates. Every platform is streamer support streamers. I don't care how you look at it. I don't care if it's Twitch or not. If you host somebody on your channel, you're a streamer supporting a streamer. That's a model you're never going to change. What you need to do is build user. You need to have a decent user base on your platform daily, which is where we saw Glimmage fail in that aspect. Is they didn't cash in the marketing, and you didn't have people there just viewing streams in general, just bouncing around the platform.
Well, I mean,
the basis
because but there was the expectation there, because obviously everyone was used to Twitch with the million and one features that Twitch has. They just expect that other platforms are going to have it. When they go to a platform and it has like the barest of minimums, they're not interested.
Yeah. I mean, at no point is a streaming site ever not streamers supporting streamers. I mean, end of story. It's just whether you support with 200 people or one person. That's the only real difference. But at the end of the day, I think SharePlay need to try and cash in on their hype that they're building, and get it out there. I think they'll do good things if they cash in the right way.
Yeah. And I guess like we have to talk about the biggest explosion on the streaming market right now, which is Kick. We have to talk about that. Like, what?
Well, again, I want to get Shin's opinion on what he went through yesterday on his test stream. What he thought?
Okay, yeah, the 1 hour, the intended 1 hour test stream that I just intended just to test it out, and turned out to be 5 hours.
Yeah.
Oh look, it's 4 o'clock.
Yeah,
I've done that before. Don't worry.
I think we all have.
But all in all, as for Kick, I'm finding it much more comfortable to be on the Picardo, and I might actually close my Picardo account again because of it. I do note that Kick has a dedicated graphics design section, which makes my little heart go happy.
That's cool.
There are still some bugs that I found, like the dashboard needs some work. Chat docs definitely need work, but again, they're in beta, but it's an actual beta. It's not just a label that we throw on while we're trying to like impress somebody.
No, we're not.
And even though it's green, nobody's making citrus jokes.
And then losing their logo. Who does that?
But in all seriousness, you'd been telling me, they give Kick a try, and and I was kind of hesitant because I'd heard, just from a cursory glance, it looked too much like it. And I'll be honest, it has the same layout as DLive and Twitch and so many other ones. So so I thought, okay, we're gonna end up with just another clone. But so far, I am very impressed with it. Just the small time I'm there, so I'm definitely looking forward to making my official debut this week.
I mean, like I gave it a crack yesterday as well, and like I agree with you. There are quite a number of bugs here and there, certain things that needs tweaking in the code to make it just work a little bit better. But I mean, once you look past that, streaming on it is, like, for me, is no different to streaming on Twitch. There's no difference there. So I don't know. Maybe I haven't seen the hype that everyone else has seen yet.
I especially like the fact that there's no view bots.
Well, eventually there will be, so that's the downside of everything.
You never
Well,
know.
I
I
mean,
mean, Picardo doesn't have view bots, and obviously neither does Glenn.
Well, I don't. Not anymore. But
his shin died in the
uh,
background. Look, I mean, so okay, I've been on Kick for a week. I did say last week that I will give it a week's test because again, I don't want to crap on a parade that I haven't been in. Um, um, again, Decepticide, I don't think so. And I'll explain it in just a minute. So I went over to Kick with zero expectation, absolute zero expectation. I expected the thing to be an absolute dead stick and wouldn't be anywhere. Anyone who's been following my Twitter will realize that I'm already affiliated over there. And again, that's because, and look, I I want to throw this very very loosely because I know it's been thrown very heavily over there, and I'm going to throw it very loosely in here. People are saying it's Mixer. It's what Mixer.
No.
You know, it's
No.
it's the new Mixer, and it's not. It is not going to be the new Mixer.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a Mixer kind of vibe there. The community wants to get in and wants to help each other, exactly like it did on Mixer. And this is where I believe other platforms, and I'm not going to mention names, but I believe this is where they failed, is they didn't encourage the ability to help each other. And I mean, in some ways, Trovo was like 20 follows to get your sub button. Again, it was next to nothing. Glimish was day one. You could just sign up. So there was no reason to get out there and go and explore and network with people. Kick is rewarding that networking. It's getting out, reaching out to people, sitting in there, chatting away, hanging out with them. Like, Speed, we put you onto Lumids, and then when you come in, as soon as you started streaming, you weren't even actually live, and he's chatting in your chat. Like
immediately,
it was a general consensus of like, hey, this is a guy I saw, like, hey, go and drop him in. And that networking thing, I think, is a part that we as streamers seem to forget that we need to do to expand our own community. Yeah. And I think that's where Kick's really capitalized on it. Is early on, it's gone a network process, and a lot of people are going to come in. Oh, Kick's just follow for follow because you're going in. But hello, did we not do it on Glimish? Do we not do it on Twitch? Do we not do it on Trovo? Do we not do it everywhere else? Someone follows us, we go and look at their channel, we follow back, because we want to support them as well on their journey. Get over it. It's going to happen. It's happening everywhere.
The whole
Facebook has done it. YouTube's done it. Stop.
Yeah, like the whole Mixer feel that people are talking about. I think a lot of it's coming from the people who used to stream on Mixer. The people who did, network and help each other out. Like those people are moving over to Kick, and they're bringing that vibe that they've always had. And they're just utilizing that, and that's what people are seeing. So it's not necessarily Kick having a Mixer vibe; it's the old Mixer people having the Mixer vibe that people are noticing, which is a good thing, though.
Like, I found myself sort of not stuck in that web, but caught in that web. That's what we used to do on Mixer. We used to vibe all the time. We used to go and hang out with people. We used to, promote their channels, bring people in, meet new friends, and you grew. But I think it's just happening so fast with hundreds of people. And I'm talking hundreds of people. I'm not talking just 10 or 15. We're talking hundreds of people that are doing the same theory, is get in, hang out, chat, make new friends. And it's just blowing up. I think that's where the Mixer vibe is coming from. It's a mentality. And this is something we spoke about, Speed. We looked at it and look, I'll sit here and I'll say last week, you and I sat here, looked at Kick and went, oh yeah, look, Call of Duty. 50,000 people. Oh yeah, it's the meta game.
I mean,
and then we started talking.
We had skepticism,
and we started talking about mentality. But I've been over there with Assassin's Creed. I've been over there with what else have I been playing over there? Oh, PGA.
Yeah, we played PGA.
For crying out loud. Like PGA over there.
And I mean, like even like PGA, like I was holding 12 viewers, I think, at one stage, and that
we could,
considering it's PGA, that's a pretty good number
for a left field game.
Yeah,
but we know
I
we
was
could count at
I was on
least
my
9 of
testing
those people.
yesterday
Oh yeah,
running No Man's Sky, which is
Oh,
not exactly, the
that's
most
definitely a
thrilling at
niche game
times.
Yeah.
there.
And I'm running the
yeah.
same I'm running the same numbers on a test stream that I was running on Glimish on a normal day, and it's like,
Mhm.
what do? It's like
Yeah.
So Deceptor says they're inflated numbers. I know for a fact I could count, and I knew exactly who was in speed stream just by the numbers and who was talking. So maybe it was 2 or 3 inflated,
It
but it's nothing like what you're thinking. It's like, oh yeah, but you're going to be like, oh, all
it's
yours are inflated. There is
it's
some
nothing like
inflation as there is,
it's nothing like Twitch
but
inflation. Where you know
Ugh.
that
but
a
let me also point out,
good chunk of
let let me just point out, if all your people on your Twitch channel were counted as viewers, your numbers would be inflated by at least 10 because they're all the Twitch bots that are watching
Yeah.
stats and all that kind of stuff. So technically, where do you have the balance? I mean, the
Yeah.
balance is there. Because I mean, Speed, you've seen it. You've opened your Twitch channel and you've got like the TTV viewer bot, another Twitch viewer bot. You've got this one. You've got this one. You've got this
honestly, I
one.
haven't looked at it,
You
but
know,
I
like,
know that those are there.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
fact that Twitch handles viewers differently, if you mute
That's
the
right.
tab, you're no longer a viewer.
Viewer.
Like,
And actually,
you know,
Kick don't do that. I
Yeah.
can clarify, Kick don't do
Yeah.
that.
and I'm pretty sure if you've got the tab open but you minimize the browser, that also counts as you not being a viewer on Twitch. So you actually have the only way to be a viewer on Twitch, like even like just watching, you're not really a viewer in their eyes. You actually need to interact with the chat to be classified as a proper viewer. Like that's where they get their concurrent viewer numbers. It's if you
That's right.
interacting in chat. So it's nice to see a platform just not adopt that and just have viewers as viewers, because a lot of people lurk. A lot of people don't like talking in chat. Like they just like
That's right.
watching or listening or like, but they're still viewers. So
Yeah.
they should
They're
count.
still viewing it.
Yeah.
So again, I think there is definitely
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So
but yeah, like I mean, sure, there is probably some sort of inflation going on to some degree, but some just like to hang out. Like lurkers are the backbone. I remember on Mixer, I used to average 30, 35 people, and I'd only ever have 6 or 7 talking, but I could see who was there, and I knew who they all were. I knew they were there to support because they're just lurking away. And the fact that Kick actually allows lurkers to be viewed as a viewer, I think that's a healthy change in the industry versus
absolutely.
the Twitch meta that we've all come to know and
the
live
5 hours I did yesterday, right? I would have averaged about 10 concurrent viewers.
Yeah.
That would be my average.
Yeah.
My average concurrent viewers over on Twitch, 3.
Yeah. Well, so Memory Leak just touches there. There's some big channels use the embed loophole to dominate categories. Now, let's make this very, very clear. This is not a Kick thing, okay? And I have very much firsthand experience with this exact problem. The embedment thing was on Trovo as well. Now, Trovo got a streamer from YouTube over, and they paid them quite a substantial amount of money, and they were also getting the Trovo 500, so they were double dipping on Trovo, which we thought was suspect and crap anyway. But we went into his channel, and he had no one talking, zero communication on his chat. All that was there is bot chat, like actual, chat bot saying, hey, follow me here, follow me here, follow me here. Now, he was promoting his website. So he was pushing all his Twitch viewers to his website back into his Trovo. So he was up 50, 60,000 because he was bringing all his external traffic into Trovo. So that is not a new feature. That is not anything that's Kick related or or whatever. That's been going on for a long period of time, and there is nothing you can do about that. That's always going to be the case. Twitch bots. I know people view bot on Twitch to get their partnerships and stuff like that. 100% they do, because it's cheap. It's easy. They don't want to work for it. But if you don't buy into that and you just do your own thing, your numbers will be very, very accurate. I can assure you of that. They will be very accurate.
Yeah, and I think the biggest ticket that Kick has right now is everything monetary. I mean, what, to get affiliate, you need 75 followers and 5 hours of streaming.
Yep.
And considering how quickly people are growing at the moment, it's almost just handed to you, within the week. But like after that, your sub cut is 95.5.
Yep. And Trainwreck has made it very public that will not change.
That's mental.
That is set because they do not make. Well, no, it's not.
Well, yeah, no, I know it's crazy in the market, but for the platform itself, obviously it makes sense. But for the market, that's just mental.
Because everyone's so accustomed to Twitch's 50-50 that, that's got to be the best that can be out there. But why was Twitch offering partners 70-30?
Yeah, but even at 70-30, there were partners who were like, I should be getting paid more because I'm worth more.
Yeah.
I'm doing all this. Well, that's right. Yes. But then you start looking into the business side of it. You're like, well, it kind of makes sense that you're getting 70-30. But yeah, anyway, that's a whole other thing.
So what Kick doing is by saying, no, everyone's on equal platform, because I don't care. You're a streamer. I'm a streamer. Shin's a streamer. Gray's a streamer. Deceptus is a bloody streamer. Why should we be getting any less than each other? What, because I've got 10 people more than you, or I've got, 12 more average viewership? Like, why does that make me any more important or valued more than what you should be, or Gray, who sits in a different category? That makes no sense. So by Kick saying, hey, this is the line because this is what we are doing, they don't need the money. And this is what I had a chat with someone about the other day.
Yeah.
If you get 5%, or even, if you get that 5% of the sub, and you've got 1 million people who are subbing on your platform, you're still making more than having no one getting anything anyway. So it's in their best interest to have more people affiliated, more people getting subs, higher cuts, and more people want to sub, because they're going to make more off that anyway. Yeah. It's lose money, make money scenario.
They obviously look at the system and be like, well, if you can get 75 people, interested in your channel, you're clearly worth enough to earn money. So that's probably the way they're looking at it.
What did you notice on Kick yesterday, Speed? What was the feature you noticed on Kick yesterday that you haven't had on Gloomish?
Oh, would that be the hosting? No, the hosting rate.
Well, actually, that's another good feature. We'll talk about that.
That's another thing.
Transcoding.
But yes, that's it. I was sorry. All right, sorry. My memory is absolutely shot. I'm old. So when I first went on there, right, and I think I was watching your stream, and I was just playing around as you do. You're searching the page, you're clicking on everything. It's what you do. And I'm like, holy shit, there's transcode, like full-blown transcoding, like multiple resolutions. I'm like no one offers this anymore. Like, that is absolutely insane. So yeah, but that fixes such a massive problem that people have. People who are on their phones who have really bad cellular networks. They can now watch streams and it's all good.
Yep.
It's
now you were saying about
else. They put some thought into the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, Shin, doesn't it? I mean, it does show that they're thinking bigger and long term. They're thinking, okay, mobile doesn't have exactly the same features, so let's give them options to watch. So, and then their Kick app is out. So, again, it just means that they're not thinking overnight. They're thinking long term. They're thinking we need to be able to create this for the long journey, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean they have the money to back it as well.
Oh,
I mean, it's
100%.
kick essentially is like a drop in the pond. Like it's just like, what was that? What happened? I don't know. I just lost $1 billion over there. You know, who cares?
No, but it's. I mean, it wouldn't even be that. I mean, think about Twitch. Was it 2020, 2021 financial? They lost $300 million in revenue.
Yeah,
Like, I'm sorry, but Stake was making like $18 billion in revenue. Are they really going to worry about $300,000 or $300 million?
yeah,
Please, no.
yeah. But the thing
So,
is, like,
you know,
a
they got
lot
the
of
option.
the biggest problem now for Twitch is that a lot of Twitch partners are starting to scoot over to
Yeah,
Kick,
yeah.
and that's gonna hurt.
And I don't know if you've noticed, but have you seen in the last 3 weeks the amount of ads almost double on Twitch?
I honestly haven't.
Greg just
Uh,
grunted. Sorry, that's a sore point.
I honestly haven't, but
I
I
have
can
ads
only.
blocked, so I don't care.
Yeah, same.
But we all
No, but
knew
what
this
I'm
was
saying
coming,
is
like because
yeah,
we
but
spoke
what I'm
about it
saying is,
several times.
but you go into a channel and you get your first pre-roll ad, and then less than 5 minutes later, you're getting a chunk of 4 or 5 ads, just bang right there. It's almost like watching like our free
Actually,
to air
no,
TV speed. It's like
I
you're watching TV and then your
yeah,
ads,
ads,
TV,
ads,
ads.
ads.
It's just
Yeah, 5 minutes a
you know what I
show,
mean.
20 minutes of ads. Yeah,
Yeah.
uh, but like even I've noticed,
But
right?
have you noticed that?
Because I've
Yep.
noticed it on my earnings on Twitch. I'm actually seeing ad revenue there, mind you. It's like pennies to the
Your
dollar. It's like,
pittance.
yeah, but the ad revenue is there. So, and I'm not playing any ads. I refuse to play ads during a stream. But clearly the ads are
You
there,
don't get a
and there's
choice.
enough ads there to actually show up on the earnings report. So, yeah, I
But
mean,
the fact is, I was looking at the Twitch affiliate program. You don't get a choice. If you don't run the ads, they will run them for you.
I see like
You can't turn them off.
ah. I guess
And
that's
that's what
why
bugs me.
I've been given so many subs, so people don't have to watch the ads.
But then there's that poses the other problem is you're paying Twitch to not put ads on and give the streamer $2.50.
It's it's the pay to win scenario again, isn't it? Really?
There we go. Exactly
Yeah.
right. There it is.
Uh, but they do have
People
to make
have
money
to
somehow.
sub to not get ads.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I get
I mean,
that. But
yeah.
you know, Twitch, are they really
but
making
this
that much of subs
brings, yeah, they try and get as much as they can off subs. But this brings the biggest thing for Kick right now: 0 ads anywhere.
Yep.
Doesn't matter where you are, what stream you're on, 0 ads, which is probably the biggest winner right now for everyone because like everyone on Twitch fucking hates ads so much. They hate ads
Ads
like
are
it's the
poison.
plague. So naturally, they get a platform, 0 ads. They're like, hey, what? 95% sub cut? Hey, like it doesn't. It's not going to take a lot to win them over. But just those 2 things alone are going to be enough to absolutely destroy Twitch.
Well,
Like,
I
not
don't know if it'll
instantly,
destroy Twitch.
obviously.
Twitch is always going to be there, but it'll make
Yeah.
enough pressure that Twitch will have to react to it. They'll have to think
Yeah.
and start going, well, what do we do?
Yeah,
Now,
I'm
you
not
just
saying
touched
like
on-
next week Twitch is going to crash and burn to the ground. Like,
no.
it's going to be a long-term thing, but they're going to feel it for a
Oh,
while.
they're going to feel the burn, yeah.
Yeah.
But you pointed out the host feature on Kick. Now I don't know if Shin was actually aware of this or if he even looked into it. But the host feature on Kick is actually a really cool little feature, and it's something that I think multiple platforms should take into consideration and really start thinking about using. Because when you finish your stream in your dashboard, if you click on host,
Well, actually,
right?
no.
Normally
I
you
tried
would
to do
think
that. You got to be live.
Yeah, you have to be live. Yeah, so when you're finishing your stream,
Oh yeah.
yeah, so before you end stream and click the stop stream button, if you go into the host and then you type in the channel, it won't just host them and put their channel on your channel. It'll give them all your viewership. So it's a raid at the same time.
Ooh.
So you go in and raid and you're hosting them as one point. Now, that feature alone is a really cool little feature that I think a lot of platforms really should do.
Well,
And if we've got any coders in chat that might think that's a good way to get around it.
but it fixes a huge problem. The whole rating
Yes,
thing.
it does.
Because
Yes,
rating
the
has
negative
been
content.
given such a bad name, you know.
Mhm.
But it's sort of like it's like passive rating. It's like, yeah, you can rate, you can go over there and chat if you like, you know, whatever. But you still have the progress of what a raid is. You know, you have all of
Yeah.
your viewers go whoop and just get dropped into this other channel. But by calling it hosting, I think it actually helps a lot because that is what you're doing.
It covers
You
both.
are hosting
Yep.
another channel.
Yep.
And to have that as an option only when you're live, I think is a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that fixes so many issues, and that helps the support your fellow streamer thing. You know,
The network.
you're streaming, you
That's
come to the end,
exactly
you
what it
go
does.
host, find whoever it is that you want to host, bam, done. Like, it just makes it so much easier.
Makes the networking so simple
Yeah,
that it's
like,
almost idiot proof. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
it is.
you can just drop into anyone.
If
You could
Twitch,
host
Twitch ever
anyone.
drops the free monthly Prime subs, it'll be the beginning of the
Now,
end. Well,
on
funny you
that,
should mention that because they are dropping that.
that is pretty much confirmed at this stage that they are going to be dropping Prime subs.
Yep.
I mean, because
And
when you
Facebook
think about it,
Have
the
also
Prime
dropped their
subs,
partner too.
yeah, the Prime subs are essentially a free sub that you get every month.
Mhm.
So, you know, by getting rid of that, they're gaining some of their revenue back, you know, which goes obviously
Now-
to getting more ads.
The whole question is why would they drop the Prime subs? Is Amazon unlinking themselves from Twitch? Are they just doing it very slowly?
Oh,
Are Amazon literally
Ooh.
going to unlink themselves from Twitch and offhand it?
I didn't think about that one.
I don't
That's
want
a
to
good
get
thought.
into
Why-
a full convo on
Yep.
this one because it's obviously not in the scope of this whole thing. But there have been discussions in technology circles about Amazon dumping some of its more unprofitable units, Alexa, Twitch, you know, stuff like that.
So, do
I mean,
you think?
well,
on
that
a
in
professional level-
conglomeration with Twitch laying off a whole swag of team as well.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Oh, yeah. So, do you think, Shin, that this might be a way for Amazon to start putting a bit of distance between itself and Twitch if they drop the
Oh,
Prime sub?
absolutely.
You know where I
Absolutely.
reckon-
They'll either set it up for a buyer, or if they can't find that, they'll set it up for a spinoff.
no one's going to want to buy it.
Ooh. No.
All right. Here's
actually-
one thing that they can get rid of that will save them a ton of money. TwitchCon. Fuck it off.
Yeah.
Just get rid
Especially
of
on
TwitchCon.
insurance bills.
Save so much money if they just stop doing TwitchCon. Like,
I mean, when you've got packs and stuff like that, do you really need TwitchCon itself?
no.
E3 just went the way of the dodo, so yeah, obviously TwitchCon.
Yeah.
is completely
I mean,
unnecessary.
yeah,
Liability.
yeah. I've been watching that. Like every single company was like, "Oh, hey, we're doing our own thing now," and E3's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm just gonna be over here then if
Oh.
anyone needs me."
Yeah,
Memory
it's
leaks
not like
went
it's
in
not like the
chat.
Tokyo
Those
Game
were
Show or
just-
Eurocom. There was no real, true built-in audience there.
Yeah.
Hmm. Sorry, Memory Leaks comment just cracked me up there. He's called it Liability Con, not TwitchCon. That's actually quite solid.
Well,
So
yeah.
wrong, so true.
But no, so I mean, look, if we're starting to see that trend happening with Amazon starting to put separation with Twitch, we're starting to see Kick pushing on and thriving. We're seeing share plays doing their thing. We're seeing Facebook kind of playing with fire by pushing their partners out. What is the landscape? And just give me a brief take. What do you think the landscape is going to look like in the next 12 to 18 months?
Do you guys want to have a say on that one?
Well, let's see. The next 6 minutes, Picardo will still be in its own little darkened alleyway. um, a certain other site will still. Oh, I'm not even going to finish that sentence.
Hibernation.
D-Live and all them will still be doing it. I think the big ones will, the big ones will be to watch. I honestly think that Twitch, whether or not it's true that Amazon's going to, get rid of it or not, they are in a massive flux right now because of everything. FBG is probably in a worse position. Because it's Meta, and
Yeah.
yeah,
it's got Zuckerberg
YouTube is going
behind
to
it.
YouTube because at least until Google finds a way to kill it off, because Google eventually kills off everything. And as for the other ones, like I think Kick will definitely be on the growth. Their biggest concern, I would think, that right now, if anything, is growing too big too fast.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened with Justin TV, way back in the beginning, and you've seen what happens as well. But I think we're this time next year, things are going to look very, very different for most of the sites. There are going to be some that obviously will be perpetually in stasis. I need to say nothing more about that. But for the most part, April 2024's streaming landscape is not going to look like what it is now.
Nope. No, I agree.
I have to agree.
I think we're going to see some platforms die off. Some of them are just going to not exist anymore. Some, as you said, are going to stay in stasis, where they're not really growing, but they're not really dying, and it's just sort of there. Then you're going to have the big guns really putting on a show, I think. We'll see some newer platforms, no doubt, make their way onto the market. I don't know how they're going to compete in the market, but I mean, they just might be happy doing their own thing. Who knows?
Yeah,
but it's definitely going to be one to watch.
I think Memory Leaks hit it on the head. I think Facebook wants out of the streaming market. I don't think there's much in it for Facebook, to be honest. They absorbed the Mixer thing, and like they built that little bit on the top of that, but I don't think there was anything really major for that. If Amazon are putting distance with Twitch, I think we could see the end of it, or it might just go into another holding pattern where it just kind of has to go through a reset, where it might end up, someone like Tencent might be interested in getting their hands on it and trying to refurbish it. But I mean, look what Tencent's done with Trovo and what they've allowed Trovo to do. Would they then drop Trovo as their thing and make Twitch their own? I mean,
but that is something we discussed though at one stage. And we said there would probably be a merger. Twitch would merge into Trovo.
I really don't think so, because there's too much antitrust issues there.
Oh but Twitch would essentially be dissolved, and the community
really coming in with the burns today.
No, but Twitch would be dissolved. Everyone that streams on Twitch would move over to Trovo, and that's just how they would do it if that were to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I got to agree with Memory Leak. I think if Microsoft were to buy Twitch, which I don't think they ever would, they probably would do something stupid like call it Mixer again, and we're still going to see the same dumb stuff happen that we see now, because it's. Look, as much as Mixer was a good thing for us that used it, there's no room in the market for it now. I really don't believe there's any position in the market for another Microsoft-owned platform.
No.
And I think if they did buy it, it would just fall apart quicker than Twitch is already falling apart. So, Microsoft have created that trust issue. Zuckerberg's creating a big issue with himself over there as well. Look, I don't know, guys. I really don't know where the industry is going to be in another 12 months. I think it's going to look very different. It's going to look very dark. And, I think the one that's probably going to be on top is probably going to be Kick. And I think you're going to have the likes of Share Plays and Trovo and things like that trying to cling on. I already know there's some issues within Trovo from, internal staff structuring and some financial issues there. I already have that on pretty good authority that's probably not in the best state right now. So that could be a bit of a problem as to why we're seeing such, how would you say, open streams on their platform. But I mean, I think anyone who's going to be around the next 12 to 18 months in the streaming landscape is going to see a very, very different picture in the future. So,
yeah, definitely going to be a big
I would say
sway.
the biggest change, if I think anything, is you're going to see a lot less restreaming services.
Yeah.
Because, let's see, Bearcast isn't doing so hot. Split Stream is practically dead. I think the only one that's really doing any good right now is Restream.
Restream's a joke anyway, because if you go to their site, they have the typical Facebook and all that's like Twitch, YouTube.
They've
Twitter.
even got Kick.
They do actually have Kick now, but and DLive and whatnot and Trovo, the expected ones. But then aside from those from like Instagram, TikTok, and whatnot, they have stuff like Kakao TV. And if anyone knows anything about Kakao, it's basically a webtoon publisher. So it's like, what the hell is Kakao TV even? And there's a whole bunch of other shit. No Live is there, but like half of this shit I've never heard of. Like, what's VLive? What's Intact X Cloud, Mixcloud, whatever, Naver TV. Shit that I can't even read because it's in Chinese.
Naver is a Taiwanese service. I know about it, but I don't know about it, which is why I didn't mention it.
On Live, Douyu, Zhanki.
All Chinese services.
Yeah, FC2 Live.
There is
I think that was a Japanese service. Yeah. And the bottom there's like Steam. But yeah, it's like a whole crap load of like Africa TV, things like that. So services that, obviously non-English services, but like the Kakao TV is the one that really threw me off. I'm like, what the hell is a webtoon? I didn't even know Kakao had a streaming service, but
Restream might be the only thing that kind of keeps some sites alive, I think. But
probably,
that's going to be a test in time to see what happens there. But it's going to be an interesting landscape for sure. But if like Tencent were to buy out Twitch and just merge it in Trovo, that would be what kills Twitch. If anything kills Twitch, it would be folding that into Trovo, because there's a lot of people that have no interest in going to Trovo whatsoever. They're from Twitch. They are pretty much stuck on Twitch no matter what. But if Twitch were to go away and just get folded in Trovo, then they'd probably lose a lot of their viewers there. So that would actually kill off Twitch. Well, I mean, it'd be dead anyway if it's Trovo, but yeah, for sure. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. I mean, that's the thing. We'll just have to wait and see what the landscape looks like in the next, 6 months even. So if you guys are in chat and you want to leave a comment there, what you think the landscape is going to look like in the next sort of 6 months, feel free to. But we are going to have to wind this up. It has been an awesome show. Thank you to Shin Zakura and Grey Walker for joining us today. We really do appreciate your input in some of those platforms that we may not know about, and that we know we are now more open to, that we know not to go to.
Yes, a lot more than what I was prepared for. Yeah.
But yeah, guys, that's going to wind us up for this one today. So make sure you check the the links out in the chat if you do want to check out any of those sites that we listed today with Picardo and No Live and a few of the other things that are obviously on the list of streaming platforms. And yeah, join us again in 2 weeks for another Side Note episode here on the YouTube, and hopefully news next week. Might have something to share with all of you guys here in the Side Note family.
Possibly.
Working on a little something in the background, but
I mean, yeah, we're hoping this is not going to be one of those promises that we made like last year where we had news and that news didn't end up coming out.
This one's on me. This one's on me. On me 100% this one. So I've got this one in the bag. I'm just waiting for certain things to line up and I get the approval, which I should get that today. So everything should be right and ready to roll for next stream. So again, thank you to our special guest, Speed, as always, mate. Awesome show. And we'll see all you guys on the next one.
In 2 weeks. Bye, everyone.
2 weeks, yes.